After we've added a few components to the template, we can then look at writing a display view to render the channels in the right way. So I'm going to go to the workspace and we'll create a simple display view that renders a horizontal navigation. So I'll create a folder to organize my views for RL, and then we'll create our first display view. So we'll call this, simply navigation. So when you're working with the display views, it's useful to keep them very short. Because they are filtered at a preview instance level and at a component level, we don't have to put a lot of details in the name. So you can keep these very short and it makes it easier to use on the preview because there's not a lot of space there. You can put a thumbnail if you have one, otherwise we'll just put a simple path. So I'll use our site's context and we'll create an RL navigation view.jsp. Maybe I'll make a note of the file name so that I can paste it later. I'll set my dependencies. I'm going to set it to the default instance. In this case, the default instance is Portal Preview, but that may be different on your environment. The types that are filtered, this is a navigation view, so I'm going to filter it for navigation types. I can set advanced settings. For example, I can compile the view or run it at server side or client side. I'll use server side and then click Save and Close. Well, once the view is created, I can approve it and then share it. Keep in mind these have no real meaning in preview. It's just best practice to approve them so they don't create a problem for publishing later. Sharing is only required when you want a business user to select that view from the preview site. It can still be associated with the component at the component level on the region. So I've just approved and shared that view. I'm going to go ahead and make sure the code is right. I'll look at my code. I do have some sample code. It's the same code we've been using for our navigation views. I'll copy that and change the name to RL navigation.jsp. And then we'll look at the code to see if there's anything we need to change there. You'll notice that this is non-EL-spec code. You'll notice that all of the OIDs and all of the objects here are non-EL-spec. I've overridden that requirement by adding the appropriate flag in Tomcat. So you'll notice in Tomcat I've set skep identifier check to true, and that allows us to bypass the EL-spec check so that we can use this older standard in Tomcat 7. The correct way to do this, of course, is to actually use the EL spec in our identifier in our objects. So, but we'll do that later. So for the moment, this code looks fine. I'm going to go ahead and associate it and make sure the file name is right. So just to validate this, I'm going to look at the file name again and make sure I did that correctly. RL navigation seems okay. I'm going to go into preview and set it at preview first to make sure it works. So this region is locked, so I'm going to have to go into design board, edit the template, and something a little funny, you don't see the ability to set the display view here. To do that, I have to leave design mode and go into page mode. Once in page mode, I have a different set of menus that allows me to set the display view. And this will hopefully work, and it does. That looks good. Once that is validated, I'll leave the template and the page view, and then I can add additional pages if I want. So that is display view, and that seems to work fine.